Hey everyone, welcome back to Star Zone. If you thought last week's drama was wild, buckle up, because Big Brother 27 just took things to a whole new level. Vince Panaro's reign as head of household has turned into a full-blown disaster, both inside and outside the house. From showman's chaos to friendship fallout, it's been one messy week in the BB house. Let's dive into everything that went down. From Vince's emotional gameplay to Morgan's shocking Power of Veto move that flipped the entire week upside down. Big Brother has always been a tale of two shows. The CBS broadcast delivers the polished highlights, crafting an edited storyline. But on the live feeds, where nothing is left to the imagination, Vince Panaro is digging his own grave, both inside and outside the house. Season 27 has had its share of surprises, but Vince's gameplay may be the most shocking of all. With Vince as the new hoe, he has the power for the week, something every houseguest strives for. But with two close allies, Morgan Pope and Lauren Domingue, on sparring sides of the game, he's being forced to make choices that are destined to make at least one person unsatisfied with his decision. Yet, beyond the game, Vince's closeness to Morgan has caused massive drama in his personal life. His outside girlfriend, Kelsey, has not been fond of the relationship, even willing to call it quits. No matter what happens, Vince's catastrophic decision-making from a strategic and personal perspective is likely going to cost him his game and relationship. Vince entered the game unemployed. He's about to leave single. As Will Williams said to Julie Chan Moonves following his eviction last week, Vinny the Lip can convince anyone of anything. He's charismatic and empathetic. He's the kind of person whose greatest skill is telling people what they want to hear. It's lip service, so the name is fitting. Early on in the game, Vince formed an alliance with Lauren, but as the dynamics in the house shifted, he grew closer to Morgan. They served as a formidable duo, but with so much downtime, game talk slowly shifted into lengthy hugs and bed sharing. Though Vinny was adamant about having a girlfriend, there were no emotional ties to Morgan, just human connection. She may not have said it out loud, but she has formed feelings for her ally. With Morgan wanting Vince all to herself, both as an ally and a person, Lauren finally began to push back in as her other allies began to disappear. So, during the White Locust twist, after Vince successfully completed the maze, Vince chose who played next. He went with Lauren, causing a complete and utter meltdown from Morgan. Not only was she jealous, but she also knew that she was no longer Vince's number one. Her meltdown forced Vince to convince Lauren to pick Morgan next, on the condition that Morgan select Kelly Jorgensen next. She did not. Now Lauren was pissed at Vince. Thankfully, with the shock of Rachel Riley's elimination, he was able to smooth things over. Temporarily. Vince won Ho, and it could not have been worse timing. Having to nominate 3 individuals, his decisions officially showed his hand. Morgan pushed to have him nominate those outside of the judges' alliance. So he did. Then Morgan won the Zingbot Power of Veto. But to make matters worse, the alleged jabs coming from the infamous Zingbot ripped their closeness, caused chaos. Knowing the zings were made because of outside perception, they still grew even closer. Vince asked Morgan to sleep in his hoe bed with a pillow barrier, while Morgan asked Vince to renominate Lauren when she used the POV to take down Ava Pearl. And guess what he did? He bowed down to the girl, with whom he was not in an official relationship, while single-handedly destroying his social game by losing an ally. Lauren, a very kind and sweet girl, tried not to let her emotions flow, but she knew she had been played, since she had just kept him safe last week. So while Vince deals with real-time girl problems, unbeknownst to Vince, Kelsey, who was running his Instagram, was fuming. Though nothing had occurred outside the hugging and intimate touching, they did have their own showergate, as they showered together in the communal bathroom. Like it or not, Vince is engaged in emotional cheating. Kelsey, who has been hounded by the fans, had previously left a comment stating, "I never gave an okay to flirt as a strategy. We talked extensively about boundaries before he left." She made it clear that he'll have to deal with the consequences of his actions. Though he'll suffer them when he discovers Kelsey has unfollowed him, Vince is completely unaware of the consequences of his game. His game resume is decent with 3 Ho and 1 BB blockbuster win, but his social game and jury management are less than desired. Vince is a people pleaser who doesn't actually know how to do so. All he's done is show he's an expert at betrayal. He has been an emotional player, But now he has to own his flaws if he wants to maintain any relationship or potentially win the game. It's time to man up. However, Big Brother 27 just delivered one of its messiest weeks yet. In a move that has rocked the house, Morgan Pope wins Power of Veto on Big Brother 27 and uses it to flip this week's nominations, and relationships are being tested as loyalties fracture. During the Power of Veto competition this week, Morgan emerged victorious and made a bold decision. She used the veto on Ava, sparing her from eviction. That move forced head of household Vince to nominate Lauren in Ava's place. This choice has thrown several alliances into chaos. The nomination switch has everybody scrambling to assess who benefits and who might get burned. The fallout has been dramatic. Lauren feels deeply betrayed. She reminded Vince of past times she'd helped him, only to be discarded when it mattered most. Meanwhile, Morgan is trying to cover her tracks, consoling Lauren in front of others while also whispering to housemates that Lauren's loyalty is in question. Vince was caught between two allies, Lauren and Morgan, and chose Morgan, sacrificing Lauren in a move that could come back to haunt him. Tensions ran high. Lauren warned Vince that nominating her could cost him her trust. And when Morgan made her case for using the veto, she drew a sharp line. Ava off the block or Lauren on it. Vince eventually agreed, hoping Morgan's promise not to burn him would hold. But emotions are raw, and many houseguests are wondering whether the move will backfire. However, the Big Brother 27 live feeds have played out like a full-blown telenovela in Week 10, with Vince Panaro's head of household reign devolving into endless marathon talks, tears, and strategic gaslighting. At the center of it all, whether Lauren Domingue would finally touch the block. After Vince claimed power, he nominated Keanu Soto, Kelly Jorgensen, and Ava Pearl. Keanu was blindsided and complained that they had a final two deal, though it was never real. Ava shrugged off her placement, pivoting to an America's Favorite Player campaign, while Kelly anticipated being a pawn. But those side plots quickly faded once Morgan Pope locked in on her real mission, convincing Vince to nominate Lauren. Lauren is saying he is choosing Morgan over her. She took over his itch. Vince says Morgan would never burn him and evict Lauren. Lauren starts to cry. Morgan argued that Lauren was the only houseguest yet to see the block and insisted Vince needed to show his loyalty by choosing her over Lauren. Hour after hour, she cornered him in the HOH room until he agreed, only for Lauren to cry, plead, and remind him of jury votes, flipping him right back. The cycle repeated so many times it felt like déjà vu. Morgan wins him over at night. Lauren reels him back by morning. The back and forth escalated when Morgan snagged her third veto win. That victory gave her the option to force Vince's hand, but could also put a target squarely on another ally's back. Ashley Hollis warned that using the veto could backfire, with Vince potentially nominating her instead of Lauren. At the same time, Ashley worked quietly to secure her own path to the end, cutting side deals with Ava and Keanu. Meanwhile, Ava and Kelly put in minimal effort to save themselves, focusing more on keeping Lauren safe than protecting their own games. Lauren, for her part, was credited online for her persistence in fending off Vince's threats, though many fans noted that simply convincing her closest ally not to nominate her wasn't exactly a game-winning accomplishment. Vince complained that his HOH had been hijacked. But who is running it? Lauren or Morgan? When the live feeds returned after Monday's veto meeting, we learned that Morgan used the veto on Ava and Lauren is in fact the replacement nominee. Checkmate, Morgan. However, Big Brother 27 live feeds show Morgan using the veto on Ava, Lauren replacing her as nominee, and alliance tensions emerging over trust and strategy. On September 15th, the Big Brother 27 live feeds captured a series of events that reshaped the nominations and revealed tension among key players. With Vinny as the current head of household, the nominees initially included Ava, Kelly, and Keanu. The Power of Veto competition added another layer when Morgan secured the win and later chose to use it on Ava. This move forced a replacement, placing Lauren on the block. The outcome not only altered the week's structure, but also set the stage for conversations that exposed differing views within the existing alliance. After winning the Power of Veto, Morgan made it clear she intended to use it. Speaking to Vince, she explained that she was always set on using the veto and would not be swayed from that decision. She emphasized that from the moment she won, she knew she wanted to follow through, saying it was something she would do regardless. Morgan also shared her frustration with the back-and-forth discussions before the ceremony. "That is why I was pissed. I was either going to go back with what I promised myself coming into this game or folding for you. That is why I prefer you told me from the very beginning and keep it consistent. Because we agreed and it made sense." Vince acknowledged the pressure of the moment, noting it was a pretty big one. When Morgan pointed out he would have had to make a choice either way after her veto use. Morgan pressed Vince about his reluctance to target Lauren. She told him that if Lauren stayed this week, she would also remain safe in the event of a future head of household win, including his own. Vince responded that she did not know that outcome for certain.